Divine and royal greetings, family. This is the Emerald Green Collective, and we're coming to you with another session of beautiful conversation. And this session is about transitional woes. Those of us, vegans, vegetarians who, have maybe experienced some deficiencies, some health issues on their journey. So we wanted to just, unpack this and see where we are. And I'm going to just turn it over to, let me say this. Coach Latoya is who brought this topic to the forefront, right? So she's probably going to have a lot to say about it because everybody was like, that's a good topic. Yes, we should definitely talk about that. So I know that Coach Shantae has questions or a question for Coach Latoya, and we will just continue on from there. So let's talk about it. Coach Shantae, you are up.
Hey, y'all. I am Coach Shantae from Alabama. And my question for Coach Latoya, in suggesting this subject, I assume that there were some people that you spoke with and they told you that they were transitioning for a specific reason or a specific deficiency. So my question to you is, what were some of the things that people told you as far as what deficiencies they were dealing with that made them decide to transition back to eating flesh?
Yes, that's a very good question. I wanted to talk about this because this is something I find that comes up in conversations over the years, honestly, just talking in general. And people are like, oh, yeah, I used to be vegan or I used to be vegetarian, but not anymore. And they just talked about how it's just it could be a wide range. They'll mention things, the common things like iron, B12, or they'll say they had digestive issues or they were tired or whatever the case may be. And I was just always curious. I really am curious to really have a study done, like do my own little study or something just to see, because I'm like, there is a population of people that have been doing this for years and they are still on the journey. But then there's this population of people who are not on the journey anymore. And then there's a population that are not on the journey, but they know they felt better when they were eating more plant-based and not eating any flesh. So I just was like, okay, I think it's just a good topic to talk about and see what they were doing. Like, what were they really truly doing? Because I do believe that, everybody's body is different and that, things that may work for one may not work for other, but still, I just think it's very interesting how when they do go to the doctor, they're being informed by their doctor to get back on flesh. And I'm just like, there has to be other better alternatives. And that's why I wanted to talk about it with practitioners, because I'm like, I wanted to see what other people's insights were, or those type of conversations come up just in general, just talking about living the lifestyle. That's why I brought up the topic.
And what say you, Coach Am? What did you want to bring to it?
Yeah, so you brought up something interesting that triggered a past thought for me, where you mentioned that their doctors advised them to go back to flesh. And something that was really interesting in my experience was when my father was battling cancer. It was something that was told to us by one of the clinicians, that the doctors are at risk for losing their license within this area. I'm not sure if it was the states, or I'm not sure if it was just specific to North Carolina, but they would be at risk of losing their license if they suggested any type of holistic treatments or something like that. So I think that that's kind of another discussion, as it relates to nutrition in the US and the standard American diet, what it is considered, and if that is truly something, the fact that their license can be removed is actually something that all doctors are at risk for, regardless of where they live or regardless of where they are licensed within the states. Because if that is the case, then that would make sense to me why they might suggest, okay, well, then you need to go back to meat. But I also think that it's a lack of knowledge. As I have shared with you all, I had a nutritionist at one point years ago when I communicated to her that I was leading a plant-based lifestyle, ask me, well, where are you getting your protein? And I was completely shocked because as a nutritionist, this is someone who is advising people on how to improve their lifestyle for wellness. And it was disturbing as well. And I'm pretty sure that my response definitely put her in a position where she was ready to have me out of her chair because I took it upon myself to educate her, just a bit respectfully, of course, but my shock was very evident. And so I think that it's just a larger, more broad conversation that either needs to happen or just more that we have to understand as to why that would be the suggestion if you're experiencing those issues on that particular, leading that particular lifestyle, not the diet. I will say that I did have a friend though who was vegan for 3 years, and this was her her experience. At the end of that time, she was beginning to have some digestive issues. She was very weak and having trouble sleeping. And when she went to the doctor, it was discovered through her labs that her iron was severely low, in addition to B12, as you mentioned, Coach Latoya. Her vitamin A, her vitamin D, and her zinc were very low. And so she ended up beginning to incorporate some fish, meat, and eggs in her diet. She is still largely plant-based, but that was just the decision that was made. And then after that, she was no longer suffering from some of those same issues that she experienced. Hair loss was another one. It was just, sort of an array of things that started to happen as a result of being on this particular lifestyle journey for as long as she had been. So it's a very interesting topic. And I too wonder if it's what other factors are at play, basically, because it seems to be a certain subset of people who, to your point, can, carry out this particular lifestyle and they're fine. And then others where it seems to be, they're experiencing the challenges and make other decisions.
That's definitely real. As you were speaking, Coach Am, I was thinking about, are there things within the animal kingdom that two-leggeds need for their nutrition? So, fish oil came to mind. Before I became a vegan, I would, not only for myself, but I had a dog as well. And we both took our fish oil pills for that lackluster. I think of the cow and the nutrients, I believe they said that are in its, I believe it's the bone marrow. Please don't quote me on that. But I wonder if there are ways, do we actually need those things, right? And if we do, is it a way to ingest them without it being in the form of flesh, right? Because we know that flesh definitely takes a longer time to fully digest within the system. There are other factors as it relates to the animal, the flesh itself, that are concerning for me, i.e., how the animals are being raised, treated, what they're eating, and so forth and so on. Coach Latoya did a interview, can I call it an interview, this weekend. And one of the things that I heard the young lady say was some of the things, or something that she read, or maybe even an interview that she did, some vegans, as they got older, they began to lose a lot of like muscle mass. So I guess my question is, are these animal supplements necessary for two-leggeds? If it is, can it be another way to take it in? And when you are vegan, I know for me personally, I had no knowledge. I knew nothing other than I did not want to eat flesh, and I tripled down on the carbs, which of course caused all types of health issues. But I didn't know that at that time, but it didn't make me go back to eating meat for sure. I just knew that something else got to give. And for the most part, I do see some elevation in my my moods or even in my health. But one of the things that I jotted down was Dr. Pookram's book, Vitamins A through Z. So there are things that we should be taking in that we probably are not, whether it comes from an animal or what have you. We're just not taking in all that we should be taking in to be completely healthy. That zinc, yes, vitamin and minerals, A to Z, definitely. So I don't know if it's Coach Nikisha, Coach Farasha, do you have any feedback, anything that came to your mind as it relates to going back to flesh?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on the part of the journey. Sometimes I think early on, I can speak from personal experience. I think it's usually hard, right? Not everyone gives up everything at one time. You might give up one thing, one bit by bit. A lot of people end with fish, or they don't get past fish. But then you see kind of a lot of like magic happen once you do cross that threshold and get fully vegan, and you start to feel the difference and see the difference, and the other people start to see it. And yeah, I feel like we got to give ourselves grace if we go back for whatever the reason. It could just be because we're human and we have cravings. It could be because we're not really sure how to get proteins or these other type of vitamins and haven't figured that part out yet. It could be because you're still not seeing like a huge impact to your health, so you just dabble a little bit. I have an aunt so I come from a Guyanese family, and every Christmas, traditionally, Guyanese people make this dish called pepper pie. Pepper pie has cow foot in it, which has that marrow, which is very good, for a lot of people, and a lot of other stuff, oxtail and whatever. And it's very delectable. And my aunt, she's been vegan longer than I have, and staunch. But when Christmas time comes, she's like, listen, this is my culture. I'm going to have a bowl today. I'll pay for it tomorrow, but I'm going to have to. So like some people do it for different reasons. And, I feel like it's just, again, important to give yourself grace and to like learn, just continue learning along the way. I think it's important. And I don't know, like, where people are when they begin to go back to flesh. But I know for me, I struggled. My health went down for a little bit when I turned vegan. I experienced the heaviest bleeding when I became vegan and the worst cramps. But that's because I was doubling down on carbs and all these other stuff. And also I didn't understand how to get to supplement. I didn't understand the whole concept of like supplements, right? Which I feel is something that needs to be discussed in this type of setting, and these type of discussions often, because that vitamin C, that iron, you got to get it wherever you can at all times. A lot of times we were relying on our steaks for that and whatever the case may be. But I think, and then also understanding, even if you do go back and get some flesh, you gotta detox hardcore after that. You gotta go. You think you're doing a 21-day detox once a season? You might be doing it once a month if you decide to have some Chick-fil-A.
I mean, that's real. And shout out to your aunt. She said, I'm gonna do it now. I'll pay for it later. I
Listen,
know those.
I
those-
that gravy and I celebrate Christmas too. Yummy.
right.
Drink my herbs in the nighttime.
And let it pass through.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you so much for that share. Before anything else, Coach Farasha, did you have something that you would like to add? Anything come to you?
Greetings.
Things.
Just like what Coach Lakeisha was saying about the pepper pot, that's funny because when I turned like pescatarian, when Christmas would come, I'll be like, you know what? I'm just gonna get the gravy. It's Christmas. So I used to do that when I was a pescatarian. Like I just had to have it because it's Christmas. So that was funny. But personal experience, a lot of people that I know that are vegan and go back to eating flesh is because of money. They will say like the cost is too much being vegan. And then they're like, you're telling them about the numbers, like, okay, it says organic before it's wrong. And then you have to get the 9. And then they're like, but that's like a whole other $1 extra, So it's like stuff like that, or the area that they live in, they don't have like a lot of fruits. Like they'll have to go to Walmart. And then when they go to Walmart nowadays, like all the fruits are like bad, like gone bad. So it's like, they're like, you know what? I can't even do it. So that's why they turn back to eating flesh. And then another thing also is like, they be saying like the temptation of going around people and everyone is eating. So we're at a cookout and then it's like, oh my God, like I just came to visit and I'm never going to get the chance to eat Uncle Rodney's barbecue chicken. So they want to eat the chicken, so it's like things like that happens. So it's all about discipline and willpower at the same time. So
add to that, because along my journey early on, I would have those cravings and I would want to go and I would literally turn into the Chick-fil-A parking lot, a drive-through, and it's about not only just discipline, right? You got to set your intentions. You're battling something deeper than just the physical when you go on this journey, and you have to ask the Most High for support. And when you ask for it, you're going to get it in the form of you turn the parking lot and there's 20 cars. So now you're not as enthusiastic about waiting for that chicken sandwich. It forces you to rethink. Or you go to the deli and you really want a turkey hero and they're out of turkey. You don't go, and now you can choose to try to find another deli, but now you have this moment where you have to contemplate your decision because what you wanted is available. And it's important to take heed to those type of signs. That's divine intervention, really. That's really what that is. And then as far as like people not having the money, I know it's expensive. It is. My bank account tells me so. However, and I don't have a garden anymore these days, so I am going to the farmer's market, and it is an hour away, but it's a battle, it's a fight, and you gotta fight. It's not, they don't make it easy for Black and brown people to have access to that. They don't make it easy for us to live and thrive. And so as hard as they make it, that's as hard as you gotta fight to make sure that you get what you need. Money can't be an excuse, and distance can't be an excuse. It's a battle, it's a war, and you gotta treat it like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like when I tell people, it's like, it's all willpower, it's more than that, you just gotta push through. Cause to me, I don't know, I could be around meat and stuff and it's just like, I don't want it. Because it's like, just me thinking like about putting there is like, I don't know, it just do something, So it's like, And then the thought about it is like, man, I took all this time to get myself together. You think I'm gonna go back? Mm-mm. It's gonna make
It's
me
like getting a white chip all over again. You got to go right back to the drawing board. You got to start over.
and then you're gonna put yourself in like this emotional like distress, like because it's like, dang, why did I do that? You know? Mm-mm. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, for the people that there's a way to shop, even when though it may appear to be expensive. But on my journey, when I first started my journey, I was in a transition. You know, I had just dropped out of graduate school. I moved to a whole nother state and I was starting all over again. And I had just started working at a job or whatever, you know, just to make ends meet. I literally had a budget of like, now at the time was just me, but still I literally had the budget of like $25 a week for my food, literally. But I had like staple items in my kitchen, but literally $25 a week. And I would go and there I would get I wouldn't get organic for everything, you know. That's what you just got to do what you have to do, you know, because my goal was to stay plant-based because I felt good. And I had a moment of going back to eating. I went to Baskin Robbins within, my daughter then spilled something. Hold on one moment. I'll get in a minute. But yes, but I had like a moment where I went to Baskin Robbins within maybe a few weeks of me eating no dairy. And I did not like the feeling of it. For me, when I feel the discomfort, that's enough for me. I didn't want it anymore. So I knew that my body was adjusting and that what I was feeding my body felt better. But I was definitely literally on getting like new cycle, new beginnings, barely had the money, but I made it work, you know. Even now I'm in a new transition, but still I somehow make it work to where I'm able to eat, you know, what I eat is definitely more than just the physical. It's a mindset, and you have to really want it, and you do have to set your intentions. Just like Nikisha said, it's extremely important. You know, it is like a war in some ways. Now it's a bigger picture and the access. And that's why I want to do some of the things I want to do in my community, because I know I just look at how different the grocery stores are on one side of town than it is on the other. And that makes me feel some type of way, you know, same type of same chain, but the quality is completely different on how the food is presented. So that's another topic for another day. But another thing I wanted to add is not only just people who go back to eating, you know, flesh, but those that say that their health was like good for years, like 10-year vegans, 15-year, 20, 25-year vegans. I'm curious. I want to know more. I want to, if y'all have any insights. Hold on, am I still on?
Yep, we can see you and hear you.
My phone, okay, it was because my phone rang. Hold on one moment. I'm like, where did y'all go?
We're here. We're here.
Okay. My phone was ringing. So I was like, and then it just disappeared. Everybody just disappeared. I'm like, did my internet go out? Okay. So, but like I was saying, like for the 10, 15, 20-year vegans that all of a sudden they have health issues. They were perfect. They were fine. And then just I'm curious to know about those two. Do y'all have any stories about people y'all know?
Is it really though? My apologies for cutting across your wisdom. Is it really all of a sudden though? Does anything really happen all of a sudden, unless it's like an accident, something else? And even that is choreographed in some way. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that what we may do, one of the things that we learned from Queen is that most adults have 7 to 11 diseases, and we just learn to become comfortable with them. Right. And then they manifest and grow into something else. So I love that you said that. But as soon as you said it, I thought, but is it really all of a sudden? Now, we had a woman, an elder in the community that said, like, when she first started, she would tofu it up. Tofu was like the best thing since sliced bread. And she found all of these. Her book is called oh, I think it's called RBG Vegan, something to the sort. And she said, like, I loved tofu. That was the thing. She says, but now after so many years of eating it, I realized how detrimental it was and is to my health. And I no longer eat it. But she said in those early days, I couldn't live without it. So if there are any decade running vegans listening, drop us a line. Let us know, what your journey was or anything that you can impart on us. But what were you saying, Coach Latoya? My apologies.
Yeah, that is a good point because, that runs through my mind. I'm like, when I have talked to people, I'm like, so what really was it? I'm like, you was doing that for all that time. And then all of a sudden now you stop because of these health issues that you say that you didn't have. So that's why I'm like curious about that. So that is a good point. It's like asking them more deeper questions, asking deeper questions. I guess for some, it maybe you really legit have to have consultations and get to see what their history is realistically. But that's a really real point. And I know for me, when I transitioned to plant-based, I wasn't a big fan of the mock meats like that. Like as far as making them on my own, I was like, no. And then it's funny because when the first time my child's father visited me and he looked at my refrigerator, he was like, I'm actually impressed. He was like, I was expecting more junk vegan food, but you really got like your fruits and your vegetables and stuff. Like I feel like I always was on that tip. I think I had to because of my finances. I really had to really make meals for real, like with more whole foods. So yeah.
Coach Shantae, did you have something that you wanted to add?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So taking it back, supplements. So one of the things that I love about this space is the opportunities for expansion and growth, because this is one of the questions that comes up a lot. Beyond where do you get your protein is where do you get your fiber? Where do you get your vitamin B? Where do you get your so on and so on and so on and so on? One of the things that I did learn is that it is extremely important and critical to have a working knowledge of nutrition as a science and not just knowing, how to cook. So I really got on this kick of like learning like the science of nutrition. There is a pharmacist down in Bainbridge who had a whole pharmacy with all kinds of prescription drugs. And when his wife got sick, I believe she had cancer, he revamped his entire pharmacy to where now he only has like a couple of prescriptions in there that are prescribed by doctors. Everything else is an herb or something of that nature. And in conversation with him, he told me about vitamin B12. Now, vitamin B12 is one of those minerals that we have to get from our food because our body does not naturally produce vitamin B12. However, there are several forms of vitamin B12 that are on the market and available. The one that is the most bioavailable in the body is methylcobalamin. It is not the cyanocobalamin that is in all of the cheese, vegan cheese substitutes and your B vitamin that you get from the store. Is not cyanocobalamin. That one does not absorb readily into the body. So you're literally just taking it in to urinate it out. But if you get the methylcobalamin B12, that one is bioavailable in the body. Iron, I can't remember what the specific type of iron it is that's more bioavailable in the body, but if you look up easy iron, it'll tell you that which one that is. And easy iron is just really easy on the digestive system because it's a different form of iron that's easier for the body to break down and ingest. Your fish oil type vitamins, the omega-3s and 6s. Now, there's one of the omegas, and I can't remember at this particular moment which one it is, but if you put certain things into your body can naturally synthesize those omega fatty acids so that you get what you need in your body. one of the things that I learned throughout the process of just all of this, the reading and studying and everything, our bodies are factories, the machine. So we can put into the body the building blocks of whatever it is that we need. And our body is going to take those building blocks because the blueprint's already in here. And it's going to be able to create the things that we need in our bodies to have so that we're functioning at optimal capacity. Anytime that we find that we're sluggish or irritable or anything along those lines, any type of digestive issues, there's something going on in that regard that we have to be mindful of. And we've got to go to the books. If you have the ability to go to the books, look those things up, figure out where your deficiencies are. If you can go and get blood tests done, go get your blood test done to figure out exactly what your deficiencies are. And then you can find the things that you need. And if you are interested, the pharmacy is Lifeway Nutritions in Bainbridge, Georgia. Lifeway Nutritions in Bainbridge, Georgia. You can call him up on the phone and he will talk you through whatever vitamins, minerals you need. He can ship things to you. Like, he is amazing. The other point that I wanted to make, in this pursuit of knowledge, I discovered a company called Precision Nutrition, and they have a couple of different certifications, and I have taken a couple of them, which is a conversation for another time. But the level 1 nutrition certification and the how to coach a plant-based diet, those are 2 of the certifications that I'm taking. And in the how to coach a plant-based diet certification, they talk about our needs for protein. And as we age, how we need more protein in our body in order to maintain muscle mass. So as a plant-based or vegan person, you would need to increase your amount of protein intake as you get older so that you can maintain. There are other things that you can take to help with your collagen for skin and nails and all of that kind of stuff. That really can keep you on the natural and holistic vegan or plant-based side of things. But it really, again, goes back to the science of nutrition and understanding how those supplements and things work in the body. And I think it was one more thing, but I can't recall exactly what it is. But just when it comes down to it, you either have to be a student of this work, like really be able to be the crazy person that's like, I'm not gonna leave here until I finish this book. Or you have to be able to call somebody that's that crazy person that's gonna sit there until they read that book and ask them, hey, this is how I'm feeling and this is what I've got going on. What would you recommend? Okay, well, give me 1 second. Let me get my notepad. Okay, let me ask you this, and this. Have you eaten this? Do you do this? What's your regular occurrence of this, and this? And when you can sit down and talk to somebody along those lines and they can give you, okay, so I looked up healing with whole foods and it says this, or I looked for the prescription for nutritional healing and it says this, or I looked in, the prescription of nutritional healing says that the medications that you're taking for X, Y, Z are depleting the minerals over here. So you're going to need to increase this mineral so that if you continue taking that medication, it doesn't have you thrown off. But it really is a science. And when you come to the vegan lifestyle, for whatever reason you may come, you got to be ready and willing to be a student, because this is not the regular food pyramid that we're taught from the time that we're old enough to sit in a desk in a classroom. We're taught something totally different. So to the point of people who have been vegan or plant-based for years, and then they start having issues, think about like what Shayola was saying with the person that was just eating soy. Well, we know what soy does into the body is increases our estrogen. When your hormones get thrown off, that can disrupt your endocrine system. Your endocrine system controls a lot of stuff inside your body. So when you look at it from the base level, okay, this thing has been thrown off for a really long time because I've been putting this in my body and it's been creating this. Then you have to go, okay, now if I eliminate this, what will it take to balance this other system back out? Because I've been eating this for 10, 20, 30 years. So essentially, being vegan and plant-based is absolutely possible. We just have to come to the space where we have more knowledge to be able to make decisions from. Because if we don't have that, then we go back to what we know. And if what we know is toxic and dangerous, then we're going to put that toxic and dangerous back in just for the simple ability to be able to say, okay, I averted that crisis. Okay, so now what can I do? And again, like Nikisha said, give yourself grace. If you feel like you have to go back to eating flesh, go ahead and do what you need to do, but don't let that be the stopping point. Look and see, okay, this is why I had to go back to this place. Okay, the next time I try, I know I need to have these supplements on hand, point blank period. Like my spirulina, I found a half-gallon jar full in the back of my cabinet, and I was like, yes, because I thought I was about to run out. I was gonna have to order some more, but I found another half-gallon jar I had pushed it back, and I was like, come on to the front, baby, because I have to have that all the time. Every single day, I've got to be taking in spirulina or seaweed of some kind so that I can make sure that my vitamins and minerals are on the level they need. But yes, that's what I wanted to add.
Give thanks, give thanks. I saw that Coach Dom came in. Well, he dropped off. Hopefully he'll come back in. He works sometimes underground, so his internet can be weird. But you know, I think that, well, I wanted to veggie back on something that Coach Latoya said as it relates to the grocery stores. Y'all, I think I might have put this in the chat. Granted, it's not berry season, but a carton of strawberries was $9.99. I just couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, I know inflation is real in the field, but one of the things that definitely is on the mind is the fact that there are stark differences, in some of our neighborhoods, and what the produce and the meats and the things that some neighborhoods get versus others. And what we do know is that what they do is take outdated meats or things that did not sell in the higher end neighborhoods and stores, they re-dye them, repackage them, and put them into our neighborhoods. And I say our because, I'm from probably where most of us are from, and it's not the suburbs. So we just have to be very careful, when we do go back, of course, allowing ourselves grace, but also having that moment, as Coach Nikisha said, to say, this may be my moment for me to think about whether or not I truly, truly need this particular thing. But just even knowing that the most things that we eat, especially in the US, probably have been compromised in some way. But just knowing that those differences in the supermarkets and the markets really are real in the field. And some of us are getting induced, diseased meats because, somebody can still make a profit from it. So when we say, it might be a little expensive, you're going to pay either way. So either an extra $20 on whatever it is that you need, or extra $2,000 for, a hospital visit. And that, y'all know, I tell you all the time, a sister had to file bankruptcy, honey, because the doctor bills, it was just no way. And I literally did that just by what I was eating and a lack thereof. So, giving yourself grace, figuring out where you are, and even why you are even craving the meat, because it probably has nothing at all to do with anything other than emotion, so just chilling around there, am I angry? Am I holding on to some resentment? What has happened over these last few days? Have I been around people who are low vibrational or take in a lot of dead foods, and that energy has somehow transferred over to me? So there are different aspects, but we did hear peer pressure, the money, the culture, and the health are potential reasons why people go back. So we're winding down on time. Yes, Coach Nikisha.
Oh, sorry. So
no, you're good.
Thanks. So Coach Shanta said something that I feel I didn't think about it very much when I started my journey, but I think it's important for us to train our minds this way, especially for people new to their journey. Remember when everyone went natural like 14 years ago? And we did not know how to take care of our natural hair. You know where I'm going with this, right, sis? Like you said, this is a science. And if you don't know how to, if you didn't know how to take care of your hair back then, you had to find somebody who did. And you might have had to pay a little bit extra because there weren't that many natural stylists out there. So you're paying $200 or whatever the case may be to go get a wash and set or blowout. And then you were on YouTube scouring to figure out how to mix avocados with bananas and make a conditioner. And now thankfully we're more well versed, but we did the work. We figured out how to do it. And now we're styling and profiling in our own homes by ourselves. And I think we need to treat our health that way too, and understand that, you know, society has not made it easy for us to take care of ourselves in our natural state, right? And in our kind of more primal way of doing things. We have to remember that things are systemic, and the same way in which we were given toxic things to put in our hair, and it's okay. God bless people who go back to relaxers, is all good, but know that there's a price to pay for that, right? And there's a price to pay for going back to flesh too. And you might go back to a relaxer. And I know some people who went back to a relaxer while they learn more about how to take care of their natural hair. And then once they figure that out, they let it grow back out naturally again. And the same thing could go with your health. You may go back to flesh while you figure out more about how this wellness, health, holistic lifestyle works, right? But you might come back to it once you do. And it's just very important to understand that the way you know things were done with our hair is the same way we have to treat it with our health.
That was a word. I had to write that one down. Society hasn't made it easy for us to take care of our natural selves. That's a word. That is a word. And I definitely was one of those people. And I, again, couldn't imagine relaxing my hair again after I begged for it. But, you know, like you said, we are evolving and we're learning along the way. Before we wrap up this edition, we're going to go into a separate conversation here once we stop recording. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone had a moment to, you know, share what they was feeling, what they were feeling. You hear me? What was y'all feeling? Coach Farasha, I see that you turned your camera back on. Did you have something that you would like to add?
No, I couldn't hear you. I think my connection went out. I didn't hear what you were saying.
Oh, we're just asking if there was something that you wanted to add.
No.
Okay, your internet probably won't let you do it anyway.
Turn my camera back
Definitely
on.
coming in a bit choppy.
Not to add anything.
Okay. Okay. Well, family, if you have any topics, anything that comes to you that you would like us to discuss, unpack, definitely feel free to drop a comment. You can also check us out on Instagram. We finally got a page. Well, we had a page, but we're finally working the page, which is emerald_green_collective. You know, again, check us out there, and our website, theemeraldgreencollective.com, where you can learn more about us, the work that we are doing, and you can always book an appointment for guidance and support on your healing journey. We do recognize that everyone is at different spaces in their journey. We're not in any type of race to get anywhere. This is a coast, this is a flow, and we're just here to help you along the way. So until the next time, we say peace, love, and wholeness.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.